Greetings, dear friends. Your invaluable support is our strength. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This greatly helps the growth of our channel. Leave your comments. Your feedback is very valuable to us. And now, to the most important and current world events. Let's go.
The US military carried out strikes on a ceramics factory in the province of Yemen. A fire broke out at the facility, 6 people died and more than 20 were injured, according to the country's Ministry of Health. According to the publication Al Arabiya, American aviation carried out 3 direct strikes on German USID warehouses. The Houthis themselves earlier claimed that they attacked Israel's Ben Gurion airport in Tel Aviv and a military base in eastern Israel, using Palestine II and Zulfikar missiles in the city of Ashkelon with a drone. According to them, they also shot down an American MQ-9 reconnaissance drone. It became the 4th UAV destroyed over Yemeni territory in both 2 weeks. The main news on RBC with Nikita Gmeiza in the studio. 1 person was injured during a UAV attack by the armed forces of Ukraine on the Belgorod region. This was reported by Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov. The injured person in the Bachanka hamlet was hospitalized. A residential house was destroyed and a car burned down. Emergency services are working at the scene. At night, air defense forces also shot down a UAV in the Tula region. There, according to regional authorities, there were no casualties or destruction. US President Donald Trump called the Sunday strike on the Ukrainian city of Sumy a terrible mistake. He said this to journalists aboard Air Force One.
The territory that I analyzed, is it a mistake? It was terrible, and I was told that they made a mistake. But it's terrible. This whole war, it's terrible. I think the fact that it started is an abuse of power. If I were president, then we would not have allowed this conflict to start. This is Biden's war. This is not my war.
The day before, explosions occurred in the city of Sumy. According to city authorities, 34 people were killed, including 2 children. More than 100 people were injured. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated in an interview with the American channel CBS News that the Ukrainian conflict could escalate into a world war if firmness is not shown and Russia is not stopped. In Zelensky's opinion, Trump should be on Ukraine's side. However, many in the US currently believe Moscow's position.
How can you see our losses are like Mo? Can you witness our losses and suffering, understand what the Russians are doing and still believe that they are not the aggressors, that they did not start this war? This speaks to the enormous influence of Russia's information policy on America, on US policy and American officials. We feel that America speaks more warmly with the Russians than with Ukraine. I think this is wrong.
Zelensky invited Trump to visit Ukraine so that he could understand what is happening on the ground. Neither Kiev nor its allies in Europe would want Washington's support to weaken, concluded Zelensky. China has suspended the export of a number of rare earth metals and magnets amid the US trade war, as reported by the American publication New York Times. According to this decision, China threatens the supply of components needed for the automotive, aerospace and military industries worldwide, as well as Dapor's semiconductor production. This could lead to serious consequences for the US and other countries, including Germany and Japan, the newspaper reports. The Chinese government is developing a new export regulation system. This is precisely what caused the suspension of supplies, according to the report. The decision was made after Donald Trump imposed increased tariffs on products from China at the beginning of April. The rate was set at 125%. Beijing responded with reciprocal measures. The General Administration of Customs of China stated that the service border control, China will strictly adhere to the regime of increased tariffs on American goods. Before the introduction of increased tariffs in the first quarter, the trade turnover between China and the USA grew by almost 3% and exceeded $154 billion. At the same time, trade with Russia during this period fell by more than 6.5%. These figures are provided by the Customs Administration of China. Donald Trump promised to announce new tariffs on the import of semiconductors to the USA within the next week. He stated this to journalists on the presidential plane. Earlier, Trump's intentions were reported by the publication Politico. The U.S. Trade Secretary Howard Lutnick stated that Washington has temporarily exempted the import of electronics and semiconductor devices from reciprocal tariffs, as the White House intends to introduce a separate sectoral tariff for them. The work of debt collectors in Russia may be banned. A group of deputies from the LDPR submitted the bill to the Duma. They propose to prohibit banks from transferring credit information to third parties, namely collection agencies. Applicants may also be given the right within 10 days, from the moment the loan is issued, to contact the financial organization with a demand to prohibit the involvement of third parties for debt collection. Such a clause is outlined in the explanatory note from the deputies. They propose that credit organizations collect debts independently. This could involve calls to remind about the debt, decisions on restructuring, partial repayment of the loan, or extending the contract. Currently, to recover debts, banks most often go to court or sell the debt to collection agencies. There are currently over 500 officially registered in Russia. According to the Bank of Russia, by the end of 2024, the level of household indebtedness reached 62%. Approximately half of the borrowers are forced to take new loans to cover existing credits. A road collapsed in the southwest of Sakhalin. The roadbed was flooded by meltwater, reports the Regional Ministry of Transport. The highway connects the cities